Hey everyone, guess what? We're here with Luke and Brian from, I'm going to say this wrong, Abhorrent Expanse. Did I say that right?
Perfect.
Um, so the new album, is it Enter the Miss Anthropocene?
Hmm.
Misanthropocene. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at least kind of close.
Yeah.
I want to say like I'm a fan of things that challenge the listener and make the listener like actively focus and go, what in the fuck is going on here? So I'm really enjoying, I really enjoy this album because it's all over the place. I love uh, that it's just a big fucking improvisation, dude. It's tremendous.
Oh, thank you. It was
Do you
fun to
get,
make.
dude, I can only imagine when you guys like, did you have any sort of structure for any of the songs going in, or was it just, hey, we're gonna,
No, all of them.
okay,
I mean, Brian will speak to this too, but like we had mostly like kind of descriptive environments and then kind of like philosophical frameworks for it. Each piece we all contributed some ideas and we picked what we wanted to try to do. But it was just like the first record, Gateways to Resplendence, where we just had these ideas of like, wouldn't it be funny if we had a piece that was like, you know, blasting death metal, but with like clean shredding, like free jazz guitars, or like we're gonna do like grindcore, but with upright bass and keep it to like 2 minutes long. I mean, sometimes they're like literally that dumb and that short, and some of them are much more involved. I don't know, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah. Um, some of them also, we came in with a specific idea and then it either didn't go quite the way we had originally envisioned, or later we came back to it a few months later and said, well, maybe it should kind of be this thing instead. So even the ones where we had these ideas in place, sometimes over the course of assembling the record, some of them just turned into something a little different. And we took a few of those shorter grindcore bits and stitched them together and added some electronic interludes in between for the title
Hmm.
track. Things like
Yep.
that. We came in with ideas for everything, but then we weren't afraid to just use technology that we had at our disposal to turn them into something that felt true to form musically. Even all the original stuff that we played was improvised, but then we did some construction after the fact as well.
Yeah, Eric Frotsky did some kind of reverse composing on a few pieces where he added on one piece he overdubbed some like orchestral bells, like tubular bells. On another piece, he made a little coda at the end that was like a friend of ours, Nathan Hansen, overdubbing some clarinet stuff. It's just like just we tried to not approach it like really like dogmatically, like this is a free improv record and edits and overdubs are forbidden. Like we were very open to using all of the tools we had available because we don't get together a whole lot and we had a really limited amount of time to do this. And for anybody that spent like a day in the studio improvising music, like it's pretty mentally taxing after a while to stay sharp and fresh. And there's definitely some stuff that we were like, it was kind of sparse and we are like, I don't know. And then somebody had an idea to do something with it and it turned into something amazing.
that's funny how, you're right, dude. It's the difference of like using your brain to work all day and using your body to work all day. It's a completely different kind of like exhaustion. So I can only imagine on the improvisation side going into a studio that you hit a wall, you're like, okay, that's all my fucking ideas.
Yeah, I'm kind of out.
Yeah, you need
Uh,
someone else to give you something to give a little spark back to that campfire or what have you.
yeah, but on a cool level with that record, we made it a few years ago on the end of like a 4 date release tour for the previous record. And so we had played together, you know, consecutive days and we were really dialed in. And Um, it seemed like a good opportunity. Like, we don't know when we're going to get together again. Let's try and jump on that while we know we're going to be in the same place. And
Yeah.
but at the same time, there's a little fatigue where you're like, man, I mean, whatever. I've done tours for like a month straight, and you know, there's just a different kind of headspace with like keeping things fresh, when you're going to play it a lot. But we're improvising and playing these like improvised forms, so like I said, it kind of wears you out in a different creative way, but it's also like really cool and inspiring as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think that's one thing, growing up, listening to a lot of the old, like, Coltrane and Miles Davis and really into the shit where they were improvisational, and a lot of the more improvisational stuff is was always really interesting to me because for that reason, like, I know I can create, but to have to
Yeah,
like do it on the spot constantly, I don't know how long I would fucking last doing that. Like, I probably got, a good 20 or 30 minutes maybe.
it's a different kind of endurance sort of thing, and like willpower. Like Brian and I and Eric all do a lot of like to varying degrees on like the jazz spectrum and like more like improvised music, like non-idiomatic improvising. Um, and then we also play like other shit too. Like I have like a folk band and I play like R&B, and I'm doing a Coltrane, like a late Coltrane tribute in like a week and a half in Chicago. So like we all are drawing on a lot of influences, and hopefully synthesizing something out of it that's not just like slapping influences together. Like I don't think any of us really resonate with that.
Sure. Yeah, well, I think there's some artists out there who say, they'll write something and like, you listen to this song and it's, oh, that is completely modeled after this fucking
Hmm.
artist. And it's cool when you can do it with taste, but it's even cooler when you can do it and people can't go, oh, that's that's fucking, whoever,
Yeah,
like, you're like, oh, I just draw in from all of these different arenas,
right.
you know, which that's probably the one of my favorite things about the fucking record is that it's all over the place. Like, when you listen, it's you're like traveling, and then it'll stop for a second, and then it picks back up and you're like, oh, and you get through, and I think it's a sail where it really chills out and just kind of, you're like, oh, okay, and then it goes right back into, hey, we're gonna fucking finish out this album strong. Like, oh,
Yeah, we had a lot more like quiet or like very slow developing pieces on this one. We were trying to be very intentional to have some material that was not just like or like wall of sound stuff. Um, like exploring like the lower end of the dynamic spectrum, but still having a mood that's coming from a like a metal space.
yeah,
Like our second single on the record, Drenched Onyx, is sort of that. Like we were saying, like let's do something that's like a black metal mood, but is very deconstructed. Like there's not going to be any like drum blasting, and to have these sort of like tension spaces that like release into kind of a cloud. Yeah, there's a couple tunes like that that
that's
are
pretty
kind of more
wild
like
to even
mood.
like think about it like that, right? Like,
Well, I don't know. It's like we're postmodern kind of, we're like mining for ideas, like what's
yeah,
left, you know? What
no,
do you think, Bry?
Um, Kind of just what you were talking about earlier with synthesizing all these different influences. Um, that's what we're all striving for as musicians, is to find our own voice on our respective instrument and not have people say, oh, he just likes this guy and this guy and this guy. It's like, no, you listen to a broad spectrum of different music, you process that through your own personal experience, and then you hope that what comes out is something that people can uniquely identify as your work. That's the best case scenario. Um,
Yeah.
so we're collectively doing that with all these different kinds of metal and non-metal music that we've listened to. Um, and we can take, like, we all have an idea of what it would sound like if we just said, okay, let's try to play black metal together. But that's not really that interesting because bands who write those songs are always going to sound better than somebody just trying to ape that style really specifically. So we just kind of had little ideas like that as individual pieces that we could assemble on top of each other rather than trying to have each track be a different, really specific stylistic thing. Like they're just building blocks, um, rather than getting too caught up on trying to mimic specific styles.
Yeah.
It's a how how do you guys feel like that it challenges you? Like aside from being in the studio and really giving your brain that improv like workout, the constant creativity.
Um, like Luke was saying, just finding something new, um, is hard in itself. And um, like the first record, it was just really exciting because this was the first time that all four of us had played together, even though we had played in different duo and trio combinations before that. Um, so the second time was figuring out what the next step was going to be and how we could keep this interesting for more than one record. Like, yeah, we can make one record that is people haven't heard that before. Now we have to do something else and still
Yeah.
find a way to make it engaging for other people.
We even discussed like revisiting some of the ideas because it's improvised. So like every time you do it, it's going to be different. I mean, that's not even the question, but the band consensus was like, we did that. Like we're going to try to come up with new like structures or new, forms that we're going to try and fill in. So like on the first record, the last track is kind of this like long, like doom endurance, like just like sound mass piece. Um, and we have something that's sort of like in the same like zip code as that closing out this record, but we approached it differently and we left a lot of space because we knew that Craig Taborn was going to overdub synth on it. And he ended up overdubbing glass harmonica, which is super crazy, like really old instrument by Western standards that he just like had laying around. But it adds this really ethereal, well, like whatever. We left space to
Yeah.
try to kind of hear like Craig is an incredible like generational talent artist, and it's nuts that he's on this record. Um, but we knew he would like really bring a lot to it, so we tried to not like overdo, overplay on that.
Yeah. Huh.
And that was like one of the last things we did, I think, on the session. So we were like, we had been playing and we were, you know, focusing for like a whole like on that level for a whole afternoon. Like it's just a different energy than playing music you rehearsed.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you don't have like, okay, this note has to go here. It's like,
Not at all. Yeah.
you know,
There was
there's
one tune Frotsky wrote that's like Brian and I both playing electric basses that are in like weird tunings, and we're just playing the open strings in like this kind of hocketed fashion. Um, while like Frotsky's playing prepared electric piano and Tim is playing drums with like brushes and shit. Like it's such a weird, it's one of my favorite tunes on the record. But that is like you have to play these notes, but in any sort of timing that you want.
huh, what
It
a
wasn't even any sort of time. He had a lot of input on like how we should be kind of like playing off of each other. So
it's
there are like degrees of kind of instruction with this stuff. It's not just like wide open, we're gonna just
right.
blow. Like let's do suffocation, but like jazz. Like there's not that.
I I don't even want to imagine what suffocation in a fucking jazz form like sounds like.
Well, check out the record. There's something that's not too far from that.
Yeah. I think, there's got to be, like an amount of freedom that you guys feel doing something like this. Like, how does that like translate in your brain?
It's liberating and terrifying. Um, just finding, yeah, not trying not to repeat ourselves, um, but getting that kind of live wire thrill of an improv gig while also having access to the really intense sound palette of a metal band. Which is, yeah, it's what I love about this band is that we get to take that arsenal of huge amps and blasting drums and then go wherever we, we're feeling on that day. And yeah, I really uh, I'm looking forward to whenever we get a chance to do more live shows with this band again because it's a great feeling. And as Luke was saying, it can get very intense even just from a couple days on a road, just trying not to feel like we're doing the same thing from night to night, where we have these structures, but finding ways to make them different and keep them interesting for us.
Yeah, there's got to be
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I
I
think
guess doing it live, there's got to be like a common ground.
Yeah. Yeah. We still have to put on a good show for people. Um, a lot of certainly confusing a lot of people. I know that. But as long as my my tagline for this band is something for everyone, everything for no one.
mm,
That I like it doesn't really feel like we have a target audience who's going to enjoy this whole thing start to finish. But as long as we can have moments in there that grab people and that they find interesting, then that's cool because we think it's great.
yeah,
I think the target audience is the people who enjoys like not necessarily just metal, but I think it's people who enjoy multiple styles of music.
Yeah.
Like that's
yeah, yeah.
I think we're really moving towards that overall too. Like instead of everyone, I mean, when I was a kid, it was if you were a metalhead, you were a metalhead, and that was it. And if you listen to punk, that's all you listen to. But now everyone, I think, or not, maybe not everyone, but the majority of people are very open to, other styles of music. And, this, I said it before and I'll say it again, like this really challenges the listener. Like you don't grab this for regular, like cruising down the road.
No, yeah, there's a bit of a buy-in with it, like to listen to this kind of thing, but I don't think there's any, like, I think the Avant Music News review that we had some really good points about it. They said this is a great record if you're into like European free improvisation or like, you know, free jazz and you're interested in metal, or you're into metal and you're interested in improvisation. Like there is an intersection there that is getting bigger. People's listening habits are more eclectic. And I think like Brian and Tim and Eric and I are not unique in that we like these, the kind of
Right.
edges of these things where there's like a natural overlap, or even like 20th century, continental composers or like American experimental music composers and like noise music and, you know, just anything that's like brutal and extreme, even like if it's ambient music, like there's some hard ambient shit like Tim Hecker that's like it's, astounding, but it's not like pink fluffy cloud ambience either. And we, you know, I think we're just sort of like connecting some dots that are really obvious, and a lot of other people are starting to do this stuff too. We're not
Yeah.
we're not like that special or unique. We're just doing it in a way that I think is honest to us.
Well, that's I think that's important for any band or any artist, right? Like you have to do something that you feel and you understand. Like it's got to come from your fucking soul. Like because I feel like as a musician, most people can go out and say, okay, I'm gonna copy this player or this artist, and
Yeah,
that's
people do it all the time.
absolutely right. But when you do something like this, like, and I'll bring Blood Incantation up, I think Blood Incantation does something really unique, and they're starting to like break the glass ceiling for stuff that would otherwise people would absolutely turn away from. Like I don't want ambience mixed with my fucking black metal mixed with this other stuff. Like it needs to be straightforward, which I would think opens up a lot of audience for you guys.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love that band. Brian and I've seen them a bunch of times. I don't think that they're like hacking through virgin forest here, like death metal with like ambient vibes and like 70s prog rock influences and like here's a bunch of
Well,
synth shit. Like that, it's sick. Listen, I got a fucking blood incantation patch sewn on my vest. Like I love them. But yeah, they're just like I think rightly really famous right now. Like they put on a great show. They have hilarious sets now. Like
yeah,
it's a whole thing.
not
And
not
it's
saying
a
that
blast.
they're not saying they're in virgin forest, but they're definitely breaking through some glass ceilings. That I don't know 5 or 10 years ago people would not be. They wouldn't play for 2,000 fucking people or 3,000 people. You know,
Yeah.
5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, because they put out a couple of incredibly well-written, straight up death metal records first, and then built up that following. And now they're huge and leaning into the other music that they really love.
That's
And
fair.
people are willing to go with them on that journey because they've already proven that they can make the more straight ahead stuff and make it really compelling.
Yeah.
So people are more willing to experiment with them and follow them into some other territory because they made a couple of absolutely killing death metal records first.
Yeah,
Now,
and now they're getting into some like fusion stuff and like leaning into the ambient zones. They got a keyboard player. Like I think it's all cool.
yeah, it is. But do you guys feel like them in that, doing what they're doing is opening up an audience for you, or that would be more interested in you?
I personally don't. I think our audience is so like niche. Whoops. Um, like a lot of people that love Blood Incantation and they check us out and they're like, this is garbage for the air. Like we had a really funny negative review I love. And this guy was like, these guys can't even play their instruments. Adorable. I wasn't even mad. I just was deeply entertained. So like it's extremely like divisive music, which I think is good. Um, but I think the little bit of press we get is really awesome, positive and negative. And certainly like there's more of an appetite now for like crossover stuff. I think just broadly culturally, like there's like Mitski is got, is like huge and there's a lot of music in there that's like not compatible on face value. Um, and so, you like get out to the like tentacles of like the music world and you get into like, oh, improvised music and extreme metal. And that's like, these are huge things with like a lot of different aesthetics in this like generic umbrella. And so people are just like checking out what they check out. Press helps. This helps. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here.
Totally. But yeah, I
That's
don't,
I get it. I've uh definitely a niche audience. You guys aren't. I don't know. Maybe you will sell out fucking Madison Square Garden. What the fuck?
It'd be a strange timeline where that happens. But
I
we're
mean,
living in
we're
strange days.
that is exactly it. Oh, he was like, I'm out of here. Turn off the camera.
No,
Yeah,
sorry, I just got on the time. Is this shit on? Is this thing on? Test.
yep.
There I am.
SDs. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely living in strange times. I think if anything, now is probably the time for, for stuff like this to, I don't want to say like really catch on in the popular mind, because honestly, I don't think that it will ever catch on in the popular mind. But I think
Mhm.
there are some uh, diehard listeners that absolutely fucking love this.
Well,
Me.
that's really cool. I mean, we appreciate that. Um, I was having a conversation last night with Weasel Walter. He's a friend of mine. I play in the Flying Lutenbachers, and we were hanging out back here talking about like, what a really insane like inflection point we are historically in America and globally. And things are really hard. Everybody's like really squeezed monetarily, and like the civil liberties are being encroached upon really intensely. And I said, rather than being like dark about it, I think that like the best art comes out of these situations where um, there's like a collective struggle. Things are really difficult, and we all kind of recognize that. And um, there's like absolutely no money in the music business right now unless you're like way on some other echelon. Like, I make a living as a musician, so does Brian, but like we do a lot of weird random gigs to do this, and like our art music stuff, like that, nobody's making any money on that. So that's cool that that's like just taken out of the equation, and like tons of people are making really difficult or really compelling, interesting experimental things right now. Even
Yeah.
pop records are like a lot more interesting than they were, I think, 5 years ago.
Hmm. I'm not listen, honestly, I've never really been a big fan of like pop. I've not listened to pop since I was probably, I mean, single digits. Not since not since
I,
Michael Jackson's Thriller.
I still listen to Phil Collins like weekly.
Well, so I have those artists that I still listen to. Like I still love Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
and I listen to it. But like as far as modern pop goes or anything in the last 30 years, I couldn't like I could name a couple of artists only because, like my kids like them or
Yeah.
their names everywhere, but I can't tell you a song if they came on. I'd have no fucking clue. Whatevs. So
Yep.
I did this. I went to this festival called Post Fest in Indianapolis a month and a half ago or so, and they were it's primarily around like the post rock, post metal stuff, but they had a singer songwriter up to like Converge, Bong Ripper, and Primitive Man,
Oh,
and
fun.
it was really cool to see the crowd overall embrace every artist that performed there. Like I didn't hear one person go, well, they suck or they're fucking terrible. It was just a lot of, man, I really liked this about that performance, or I really like this. So I like that we are moving more towards a time where we're people to uh, we're challenging them with what would the traditional sense of like music be, or what people would orally listen to and go, oh,
Sure.
that's fucking awesome. And I'm relating that back to your point about like the weird time that we are in,
Sure.
with all the struggles. I think people are coming together more in these elements, and it shows that music is more of a unifier than it is than anything else in my mind.
Yeah, yeah. It's also very tribal though, like the music scene. Weasel and I were talking about this last night too, like how tribal shit is. So like there are more like networks and kind of grassroots DIY stuff, popping up because we can't rely on traditional touring networks right now or like distribution networks and stuff like that. But it's also really insular. Like, um, we live here and I'm in a million bands and some of the clubs that everybody's like associates with Chicago, like those can be kind of difficult to book as a local musician, because of the sort of like insular and sort of partitioned off tribal nature of a lot of it. And this is by no means like the music scene like nationally, but at least in pockets, I'm finding, as open-minded as people are, it seems to kind of like crystallize in these like really tight little orbits where they don't even know that like some amazing shit that they would love is happening like in their town. Like we've had the collapse of like print media. Everybody used to read like the Chicago Reader, and that would tell you all the shows. And like there's no kind of like central, like point where all this stuff is getting disseminated. Um,
No, and there's
like
I think a lot of digital media is trying to become that, but it's hard because it's like putting a song on Spotify and going, okay, listen, and not really saying anything about it. You're like throwing a fucking pebble into the ocean, going, well, maybe I'll hit something.
yeah, also fuck Spotify. Like everybody get your shit off there.
Yeah. Well, just, as same Apple, whatever the fuck you want to use, right? But
Yeah, I mean, it's all
you know,
Google.
yeah, it's all the same, dude. We're throwing pebbles into the ocean, hoping it catches something somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
I think
yeah,
like Brian could maybe like speak to this a little bit better than I can, but um we made these records for us. Like these are like at least the making of the record was for us. And if people like it, that's awesome. Like we're not trying to alienate people, but we're not trying to make a record like for some
anyway,
imagined
right.
audience. We're
Yeah.
trying to just focus on the like quality of what we're doing and having it, you know, have a high level of integrity. And I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Brian?
Think it's a really good thing that we have a publicist who can actually put these records in front of or get us involved with publications who can then put us in front of people who are interested in what we're doing. I
Yeah,
think that's
ear
been
split
a
has been
huge
awesome.
part of this process and made
Yeah.
this really succeed in a way that I would not have thought possible for our extremely inaccessible music.
That's a cool way to put it. Extremely inaccessible. I really like one of my favorite things is when a band makes music for them. I feel like it comes out more authentic. Uh, I mean, it does, right? It comes out more authentic than anything else. And the point of music isn't to go out and sell a million copies. It's about creating something that you enjoy making or that you're proud of at the end of it,
I think a
right?
lot of people it is to sell a million copies, though. I mean,
Yeah,
you
but it's
know,
like
and that's fine for them.
I don't think that comes off as authentic though. Like
I
almost
mean,
like
was like was Thriller inauthentic? They definitely were like, we're gonna sell a fuckload of records, and this music is gonna rip.
were they going to, they knew they were going to, but
Absolutely, dude.
do I think they made it with the intention to sell more records? No. I think I think that was the thing with like Michael Jackson he was an artist, whatever, right? Phil Collins is an artist. Are they going to sell a lot of records? Fuck yeah, they are. But are they writing
Yeah.
music specifically to sell a lot of records? No, they're writing music to create what they enjoy creating.
My favorite, my favorite kind of like intersection of that stuff is Rod Temperton, the guy that wrote like Rock with You and like a bunch of shit for Michael Jackson. Um, that guy just like wrote a bunch of really sick songs because that's what he heard. And there's no like contrived, like conflict or contradiction with that. It just happens to be like catchy music and it's sick, but I think it's like art music in a way.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the music, the music to me that comes off as authentic is just that, right? It's someone creating something that they enjoy. There's no ulterior motive with the creation of it,
Sure.
right? You know, if we get into like Taylor Swift, I think that the idea of that is not creating to create, it's creating to make money.
No, that music is deeply cynical, and I have a really hard time with it. There's a lot of stuff that is like that, or it's just kind of slapped together.
Yeah. So are you guys going to take this album on the road?
We will eventually. Um, we don't have anything booked for the moment, but we are looking forward to getting back to playing live as soon as we can.
Hell yeah. I want to experience this live. If you guys want to come to Louisville, come, please.
Well, any promoters that are willing to put some bread on the table for like the weirdest show of the year.
I mean, yes. Yeah,
Yeah, we're always down.
we're fucking into it. We're into some weird shit.
There's a lot of great stuff that's come out of Louisville. I was thinking of like the post-rock scene in the 90s. Like there was a lot of stuff. Like the Rachels, they're from Louisville, aren't they?
I don't know. I don't know the Rachels. I'm gonna
Yeah,
look though.
yeah, like experimental chamber pop, like super weird. Uh yeah, anyways, Louisville's cool.
Yes,
Would
Louisville
love to
is
come back.
Louisville's
But
really
so is
fucking cool.
Chicago. And it's only an 8-hour drive. I don't even think it's that far. I think it's like 7 hours.
Not from Louisville.
No?
No, it's like four and a half.
What?
Yeah.
Well, look at us. I don't know why I thought it was so much farther.
Who's your favorite artist overall?
Damn. Uh, John Coltrane,
Okay.
Jimi Hendrix, Bjork.
All of them.
Courage. What do you got?
Yeah, that's an insane question.
Yeah.
Like Marcel Duchamp.
So who do you guys want to tour with?
90s era
Oh.
Gorguts.
Yeah, anyone whose audience isn't gonna boo us off the stage. That's about the threshold we're at right now, is just open-minded listeners who are there for a metal show, but would be down for something weird.
Yeah, I think like the European festival model would be really good for us because they kind
Yeah.
of expect it's going to be like Moore's festival is just all over the place dynamically.
Yep.
So a place where people are going to be challenged and they're looking for that, that's our zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big ears.
Yeah, Big Ears would be sick. It's a great festival. If anybody doesn't know, check out Big Ears Festival in, is it in Knoxville? Where is it?
Knoxville. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the lineup this year is, I just looked at it yesterday. It's incredible.
When
Yeah.
is it?
March, I think.
Yeah. March of next year.
Huh. They've got Wendigo Fest this weekend, I think, which is more in the like Doom vein.
I'm not familiar with that. Oh, okay. Wendigo.
Yeah. I think Telekinetic Yeti, Crop, Temple of the Fuzzwitch, maybe Bronco. I don't even know who else.
Temple of the Fuzz Witch is an awesome name.
Yeah, I like them, dude. They're really rad. They mix like doom and black metal.
Guys, I'm gonna have to go pretty soon, but do you want to any little like last points
Yeah.
you want to put on it with me?
No, I think let's do this. Let's end with this. Final thoughts for the audience.
Um, Listen to the record. And if you like it, that's great. And if you don't, that's great. Just can guarantee it doesn't sound exactly like anything else you've heard before. Um, yeah, with Spotify and Apple and all these different companies, in spite of the fact that they've financially ruined our industry, they've also made it so incredibly easy to access all different kinds of music, which makes bands like ours more approachable because people are used to really having access to the full spectrum of what's available from the world. So, for anyone looking for challenging music, give it a shot.
Oh yeah.
Well put.
You got anything, Luke?
Everybody take care of each other.
That's the
Cool.
important one. And just a fucking important one. Okay, Luke and Brian, thank you both very much. Thanks for the album.
Oh yeah, thanks for having us.
I fucking really enjoy it. I will
Awesome.
listen to it a lot. So you guys go and when you're ready, when you're ready to come play Louisville, let me know. I will
We'll hit you up.
happily help you guys get a show.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Sounds good. All right,
See you
cats.
guys.
All right.
Cheers.